Hello everyone and welcome back to Suzerain, where we just finished the first major act. We've just had to decide on a new budget and how we're going to move on with our government going forward. We're at -4 government budget, so we don't have much money to spend, and I've noticed that one of the first things here is buy riot control equipment. Not that we're going to be able to afford that. But first of all, let's have a look at the Workers' Rights Act, which has been passed by the GNA. Oh boy. Okay, so Section 1 of this bill sets the groundwork for fair compensation by establishing a minimum wage of 2.5 Swedish rand per hour. This serves as a benchmark for fair, equitable pay, ensuring that no worker in Swordland is compensated below this rate. Section 2 addresses the issue of excessive labour, setting a maximum limit of 60 hours per week. The provision aims to prevent Welsh exploitation and safeguard the well-being of Swedish labour force. Section 3 introduces the concept of double overtime pay. This stipulates that any work performed beyond a 40-hour work week will be compensated twice the normally hourly wage. This incentivises fair work practices and ensures employees are duly compensated for their extended efforts. And Section 4 focuses on worker safety and humane work conditions. It mandates that employees must take all necessary steps to protect their workers from occupational hazards and ensure a dignified and safe working environment. This promotes a culture of respect and care within workplaces across Swordland. It's one government budget which we don't have, but I'm going to sign it anyway. I'm guessing we can go into debt. That's what governments do, don't they? But we need to keep an eye on the government budget that we don't go too far, otherwise we're never going to have enough money for future things. So stuff like this by right control agreement we're probably going to have to say no to. The recent unrest has shown weaknesses in our law enforcement's ability to maintain order and peace. The Ministry of Interior has run out of important vehicles, armour and other crowd control gear to be able to ensure stability in the country. Should we fund riot control equipment? No. I'd like to, I don't have the money. You're just going to have to make it work some other way. We'll just have to see how it goes. Okay, regional investment decision. Gus Mange and Simon Hold have prepared an extensive regional investment package to revitalise one of the top 3 economically fragile regions by boosting the municipality budgets, providing local businesses large sums of money, giving cheap loans to companies with liquidity problems. The proposal can be implemented in one of the following regions: Bergia, Lorraine or Agnerland, or not. It's a lot of money to spend. We don't have much money to spend at all. If we keep spending money, we're just going to be in debt. I'll invest in Agnerland because it's a regional strategic location. But we are running out of money quickly. Budget allocation law enforcement, that'll be interesting. An evening walk with Monica. Let's speak to our wife next, however. It was early evening, still light out with a faint nip in the air. Frank was at a friend's and Dina was at an art class. Monica and I decided to go for a walk before dinner. Our favourite place for a stroll was near the nearby Capital Park, the largest green space in all Horseward. Before the children were born, we'd spent many of our evenings engaged in deep conversation along the riverside promenade. Another favourite path wound through the woods behind the presidential housing complex, a private pond where the children could swim in the summer. We saw the Sol himself had it built, the benefits of being president. Monica met me by the door, and we put on our coats and hats. I was going to suggest we walk towards Seoul Square, but the girls told me it's been closed for yet another protest. I wonder what they are protesting this time. Why does it matter? They're two sides of the same coin. The Antonine University would never have said that. Oh, that's a mistake. And my chair's breaking apart continuously. I apologise if you've been hearing my chair break a lot in the last few episodes. Oh, that might have been a mistake. I don't know really what to say here. Putting present changes one's perspective. In any case, where should we go? I'm not sure Capital Park is a wise idea in this climate either. Let's stay inside the gates, let's not cause any issues. I agree, let's go then before the children get home. I informed the guards about our route and we left the house. The guards followed at a discreet distance as we walked towards the walking trail. As we entered the woods, Monica broke the silence. So how was your day? How was yours? Avoiding my question, are we? Very well. Oh, it was fine. I caught up on some reading while the children were at school. Just outside the gate, I glimpsed Iona Krona, the former Minister of Justice, walking towards Capital Park. I remember that Nia Morgan used to be his vice minister. He didn't seem to notice us as he walked by. Ionis had once fought hard and strong against Sol's judiciary reforms, but after years of the government blocking his every move, he gave up on his ideals and became part of the administration. What did our ideals really mean if they can be changed so easily? What about the people we idolise? Evelyn came around for tea. She says hi. She was feeling a bit low, though. Apparently she and Peter had a bit of a disagreement. I feel like all these things I'm saying are rather combative to Monica and Evelyn, but hey-ho. Peter's in the doghouse? How did it happen? Apparently Peter had too much whiskey as usual and did behave when Evelyn's father was over for dinner yesterday. You know, Peter. What do you think of this? That's a rough patch. To be honest, I don't care. I'll have a talk with Peter. Good. Evelyn seemed close to tears. Aren't you glad you and I don't have these kind of quarrels? Being married to a shrew like her and making... No, let's go for the first one. Monica didn't say anything. We kept walking. I feel like all of our responses here being unnecessarily combative. You know, Evelyn hasn't been the same since what happened to her at the Wholesale Post last year. You remember how she got fired for supporting Alfonso? Peter tried everything to get her job back, but it didn't work. A sad day for journalism and free speech in Scotland. I completely agree, a sad day indeed. But enough about the Vecturns. I also spoke to Janice on the phone. Who? You remember my friend from university? We were in the Swedish literature class together. A few years younger than me, red hair, scar on her forehead. We had dinner with her and her husband once or twice. Neither the name nor the description rang a bell. Let's be honest, I still don't remember her, but go on. Anyway, she's been working as an executive assistant at the Violet Pictures film studio. She recently became pregnant and asked her boss for paid maternity leave, and guess what? She was fired for it. After asking for maternity leave, that's terrible. I know, I was beside myself when she told me, and that's not all. They immediately replaced her with a younger, less experienced man, the son of an executive, no less. That is utterly ridiculous. I'm happy you agree with me. As it happens, another friend works at the television station that's hiring secretaries, so I connected the two of them. That doesn't solve the deeper problem, though. Exactly, I knew you'd be on the same page. Women in this country are still being seen as wives and mothers first, and humans being second. They're harassed at work, underpaid, but from positions of power, and those are the lucky ones. The fact that there's still places in the country where little girls like Dina are denied the right to an education. Listen, I'll do what I can to change that. It can't just be you. These little girls and people like Janice need someone to speak up on their behalf, a role model, a successful woman, i.e. you, I'm guessing. We had reached the pond at the end of the trail. A park bench overlooked the water, and Monica gestured to it, and we sat down. Which brings me to my point. I know that the Mayor of Adreka, Kurt Lester, will be delivering a speech at the annual opening of the Benfey Festival. My wish is to take his place and deliver the speech instead. Ooh, Monica, don't move me in this position. Lester was one of Scotland's most influential politicians. He had started his career in Benfey before rising to power in Amrika. Benfey's current mayor had personally invited him to make the opening speech. Replacing him with Monica would likely anger him, probably not enough to cause a huge incident, but enough that he might use his influence over the Conservatives to block me in the Assembly. I want to base the speech on women's rights in Scotland, on the oppression and discrimination we face every day, on the basis of our sex alone. I want our voice heard, and this festival is my time to do it. I just need your blessing as my husband and the president of Swordland. Remember my time with the Women's Swordish League in university? You supported me then, and I'm asking you to support me now. Monica's eyes were blazing with a fire I hadn't seen since we were students. She wanted this badly, but I had to be careful with my promises. Oh boy. I'm not sure I can block off the mayor. Does it have to be at the festival? Why can't you make the speech another time? It has to be now. Thousands are at this festival, and millions watch the speeches at home. Swordland's women can't wait any longer. Oh, am I going to regret this? Sure. You have my full support. This is why I love you. Thank you, Anton. You have no idea how much this means to me. Monica beamed to me, her face flushed with excitement. One way or another, I want to contribute to this country, no matter what happens. Could you not have done this another time, Monica? We are not weak, Anton, but only strong as long as we stand by our ideals. That was why I married her. The passion and resolve. Should have anticipated that sooner or later she would join me in the political arena. We rose on the bench and started making our way home. Otherwise we will end up like... Sol? Say what you will, but that relic of the past was, and frankly, still one of the most idealistic people in Swordland. Guess again. Ionis Kroner. Exactly, he backed down on his ideals and now everyone knows him for what he actually is. Spineless. If those people remembered Ionis, how would they remember me? Whatever he had done, whatever ideals he had lost, he must have had his reasons. Would they remember me as a true patriot, or a reformer of the country? Or would they write about me in the history books? Let's go back to house for dinner. Of course, lead the way. Monica smiled. You know, I believe I will. When we arrived home, I called my secretary Olivia and asked her to inform Celeste that Monica would be making the speech in his stead. I'm not sure I'm thrilled by that, but I don't really seem to have a choice. The sun began to set over the horizon, bathing the clouds in shades of orange and pink. Okay. There's a new situation. Okay. I think we're doing okay there. But we definitely gonna need to change some things. Right, what's next? Next is okay. First of all, let's read the report. General Staff commenced the administration. The General Staff convened at Camp Strongarm, a session much shorter than usual, concluded with a positive military and analysis of Swordland's field capabilities. The Chief of Armed Forces, Valken Kruger, made a public press statement praising the administration and its efforts to strengthen the most important branch of the government, the military. All staff generals co-supplied a letter of support to the Reign administration. That's good. And it looks like our economic growth is finally heading in the right direction. But first, the budget allocation. And we have some issues. I was in my office reading reports from the ministries about the current situation and the protests. My next scheduled meeting about the law enforcement budget with Nia and Lilius. I heard some knocks on the door. Nia entered and took a seat in front of my desk, with Lilius being absent. Lilius will be late. Apparently there's an urgent matter the Ministry of the Interior she had to attend to and shouldn't take too long. Very well, let's wait. I returned to my reports and Nia smoothed back an errant strand of hair and there was an awkward silence. While we wait, why don't we have a little chat? This might come off a little strange, but I'm proud of you. Despite everything, you're actually trying to reform this country. It's we, Nia, not me. I couldn't do any of this without you, so I'm proud of you. You certainly have a way with words, don't you? Words are just words, actions are what's important. And you seem to be doing well so far. Pros are cancelling out the cons for sure. How are you really holding up, Anton? Being the president, I mean. It's the hardest thing I've done in my life, but also the best thing I've done in my life. I can imagine, so much responsibility and so much power at the same time. I want to assist you in the country as best I can. Unfortunately, my hands are tied with the current budget allocation we have for the law enforcement. She fairly finished her sentence before we had a knock on the door. Nia almost jumped in her chair. Lady Scraff entered the room. Mr. President, Nia. I hope that I'm not interrupting your conversation. No, not at all. We were just discussing a few things. Nia smiled at Lilius. I'm sorry for being late. It was an important matter of the Ministry. The security forces of Bergia are arbitrarily not cooperating with my department and created some minor annoyances. Unfortunately, due to my limited authority in the special zone of Bergia, I cannot control their operations. Luckily, they didn't completely botch their tasks and actually uncovered a large network of priests that are recruiting Bergians for the British Freedom Front. This sounds very significant. Do you want to explain more? The issue was a miscommunication about an ongoing investigation inside Bergia, but as I said, it didn't affect the results in a negative way. The investigation, however, revealed some troubling facts. We suspect the existence of a massive network of BFF-aligned priests currently serving in Bergia. We've discovered that most of the existing Golconda sanctuaries and communities inside Bergia are indeed working directly for the BFF. Several reports also point to a possible infiltration of the Dasnurist and... oh my goodness, how on earth do I say that? And the other community by these Golconda sects. May the Divine God forgive us if this is true. This is Ryan News. Keep following the lead. We cannot let these sects divide our society. Of course, Mr. President. I must say, Mr. President, that your lack of support to the law enforcement is taking its toll on the police forces. They are crumbling away, but we'll talk about that soon. Well then, let's get straight to it. We'll provide a brief update on the situation of law enforcement. The Ministry of Justice and the Supreme Court is working in close collaboration with the Ministry of Interior to address the protests in the country. I must add that thanks to the hard work of our judiciary, the law enforcement forces assigned to my ministry are doing their jobs efficiently. I call it the success of our forces on the ground, not due to the judicial branch of the government. Lydia shot Nia a brief, withering glance. As expected, after the budget reduction, the morale of my employees are at an all-time low. Many of them face the risk of losing their jobs now. Yet here we are, with mass protests happening in the country, talking about how we have to fire our security personnel. What makes things worse is that our request to fund the lacking riot control equipment has been ignored. This is ridiculous. Agreed. The Ministry of Justice was hit the worst. The backlog of the court cases is so high that judges do not even have the time to look at small cases, postponing them to a month or years later. This causes a disastrous bottleneck. How can we deal with justice if we can't find time for these cases? Don't worry, I'll make sure you'll manage. Tell that to the policemen on the ground when they're overwhelmed by protesters. The ripples are already being felt across the country. I hope this decision is not the beginning of something bad. Well then, let's move on to what we're actually here for. Due to the budget decrease, we've had no choice but to cut funding from a branch. However, you need to make a decision to determine which branch gets the cut. Exactly. When deciding, you must look at the bigger picture, and I believe you'll make the right choice. What if I decide to cut funding equally from both? We need decisive action. Cutting funding from both branches won't help anyone. Look at it this way. The Ministry of Justice has never been well funded in Suzerain, while the Ministry of Interior was always more lucky, already causing this uneven balance in between the two. That doesn't mean anything. The Ministry of Interior is far more critical in function, especially now. Tell me, Nia, who brings the criminals before the justices? Let me answer. The police forces connected to the Ministry of Interior. Oh boy. The Ministry of Interior is one of the well-funded government agencies in Suzerain. The same can't be said about the Ministry of Justice. Our court cases have already been piling up with no end in sight. We already have a bottleneck. If we worsen the situation, our whole justice system will fail. The Ministry of Interior and our police forces on the ground play a much larger and more important role during these times when there is a threat to our internal safety. Simple. Why should I cut funding from the Ministry of Justice? It's because the Ministry of Interior can't afford a reduction unless you want the whole country to be overrun with protesters. Ha! And tell me, Lilius, how are you going to bring the criminals to justice if our judges have to postpone court dates to a month, 6 months, a year later? Doesn't even matter who or how many criminals you catch with your forces if justice can't be dealt. I'm ready to make a decision. Well, they said it's not good to do it from both. Do we do it to the Ministry of Interior? To Lilius? She's not going to like it. And either way, there'll be significant consequences. Ministry of Interior, I'm so sorry. This is completely absurd and unbefitting for the President of Suzerain. A moment to deal with the relation past, Lilius and Nia got up from their seats. I must return to the Ministry to implement necessary changes. Me too. As soon as the door closed, I could hear their muffled voices they argued. I have no money. Yeah. Situation's updated. There's a crime wave. Which is bad. Problem seems to be worsening, and there's also a dissatisfied police personnel. I didn't realise it'd be so bad, but actually I think we're actually in economic growth. Very mild economic growth, which hasn't happened for a very long time indeed. Okay. What is next? Let's go back. So let's read the... No. Oh goodness me, more railway construction issues, that's annoying. Nothing in whole sword. Okay, let's do the briefing of the railway construction. Creates the perfect opportunity to visit the Green Technological Nerve Centre of Swordland. Dozens of electrical engineers from the city were part of the electrification upgrade to the rail track. The main purpose of our visit was to solve construction issues that began to endanger the deadline. The Galesword Research Council let us use their facilities, but the directors weren't interested in our affairs. Simon looked a little more stressed than usual. Gus was also here to find solutions. He eyed me for a while. There was also a message of support from the Mayor of Anrica, Curtin Lester, who was grateful for the Elwyn investments. We scheduled the project to finish in late 1955, but have concerns about the construction due to progress being slower than expected. I expected some issues before we even started this. This corporation is full of fossils, they don't even know how to solve problems reactively. The SSC reported they have slowed down due to several areas on the way to Galesford having potential landslides that can endanger the workers. My argument is they should have known about it. Like, I understand that that's the issue, but how can we speed up construction then? This is a million-rand question. There are a couple of issues that need to be resolved on the SSC to meet the deadline. One of the important issues is their construction management team. The other could be the outdated construction methods used, which require more manpower, but I'm not sure if that contributes to the issue. State-owned corporations like them never really receive performance penalties, and that's why they are incompetent and lack responsibility. We can't let management delay the project, it's unacceptable. Couldn't agree more, this shouldn't keep on going any longer, you're right. My advice would be to warn them, there's a chance that might wake up to the situation. Giving them a serious warning could be the solution, a slap on the wrist can do wonders. There's a good chance they'll take this far more seriously and take measures to increase speed. One way or another we have to solve this issue, this can lead to real complications down the line otherwise. We can either give the construction managers more money, warn them, or replace them. I say replace them with more competent managers, it should help resolve the resources being handled inefficiently. I'm not giving them more money. Send a formal warning. I think that's the best thing we can do. The warning will hopefully provide a positive result to their performance, we can escalate further later. I'll personally go and talk to a few SSC managers and tell them the gravity of the situation. That should be it. Good that we figure out a way to move the process going forward. The meeting ended, and the three of us toured the Advanced Research and Development Divisions in Galesford. The day-long visit ended with a dinner involving the most important people in the city, many of whom were scientists. Later, we made our way back to Holsword. You need to hurry up there with the L1 railway, because we are struggling with our budget. Okay, in Lockhaven. Money issues. The Central Bank of Suzerain issued a damning warning regarding the extensive government budget deficiency that has occurred in the first year of administration. The potential consequences of irresponsible economic management were highlighted. Edith Acknog, yes, that's her, the lady, the central chairman of the Central Bank of Suzerain, relayed that a large deficit could have dire consequences on the strength of the economy, and the currency as well, and could hamper the potential of the still-to-recover economy. I know, but everyone wants money, and you gave me a budget of 6 to work with. A discussion of changes to the tax system. This might be what we need to get some money back. We were at the top floor of the Business Council building, which had a great view of the beautiful Lockhaven. I looked outside from the tall glass windows. The Markian Sea stretched as far as the eye could see, and was dotted with many ships towards the horizon. They were mostly cargo ships, carrying precious goods in and out of Swordland. Tracing back the path of the ships added to the harbour, Lockhaven was home to one of the largest harbours in the entire continent. Many dockyard workers were loading or unloading the containers. Work never stopped here. The door opened. Simon, Mikhail, and Edith entered the meeting door. Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President. It's good to see you all again. Simon put down his bag on the table and started collecting his documents while the others slowly took their seats. Mr. President, before we start, I'd like to mention some rumours that I heard. Workers' Rights Act do not sit well with many business holders, to be expected, especially out of the first section about the minimum wages. I heard the same. This has just caused these businesses to lose millions of rands overnight. Unfortunate, really, especially during a recession. What is unfortunate that this bill was enacted so late. It's the truth. Simon waited patiently. Once everyone was ready, he adjusted his glasses. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone here for their work on the tax reform system. We all know how complicated our current system is, and this work wouldn't be possible without you. The ultimate goal here is to end the recession. Before we move ahead and start formulating a plan, we need you to start determining our direction, Mr. President. We have a few possibilities as a result of the work we have done so far. We can increase, maintain, or decrease the taxes for large corporations. I believe some in the room have a few strong opinions about this. In parallel, we can increase, maintain, or decrease the taxes for small and medium businesses. Let's start with the large corporations, then we'll move on to small businesses. What is the outcome if we increase the taxes for large corporations? Simply put, if we increase the taxes, we'll have more government budget to spend, which may come in handy. On the other hand, it's not going to directly help us revitalise the economy. Our government is already in debt. This might be a way to get out of that debt. I do believe that there is one way to get out of recession. It's through the trade and the economic contribution of large corporations. Increasing the taxes will turn them on you. I'll go a step further. Increasing the taxes will have disastrous results, and it will make you an enemy of them. Trust me, Mr. President, nobody wants to make an enemy of them. It goes both ways, Mr. Avon. Of course. What if we decrease them? It's not an option at this point. Our state is broke. We're barely functioning with the help of our taxes. I see. Is there any downside to keeping things the way they are? I'm of the opinion that if we don't make any changes, nothing will change. To stop the recession, we need to do something. I think so too, and so does Mikhail. What does everyone think we should do? I don't think we have to do anything at this point, although I would have preferred to decrease the taxes. It doesn't seem the best option. Our international trade is driven mostly by the products of these corporations. They are the backbone of our economy. Exactly, an increase should be out of the question. These companies are the backbone of our economy and the way out of the recession. Well, that doesn't give us much government budget for the increase in taxes. It only puts us down to -5. Maintain the taxes for large corporations. That will not change anything. We won't gain anything by standing still where we are. I protest against this. Enough. The President has made his choice. Well then, I'll take a note of our action. I'll put it to implementation as soon as possible. Let's move on to the small and medium businesses. What is the outcome if we increase the taxes for small and medium businesses? They're the backbone of our economy and comprise most of the regular people. If we start demanding more money from them in taxes, it might cause the public to harbour ill will towards the government. On the other hand, we need a way to get out of debt one way or another. This can be the solution for sure. I think increasing taxes to these smaller corporations is a good way to earn some extra capital so that the government can give it back to people in due time. In the long run, increasing the taxes for small and medium businesses will make people happier with the services that the government provides. People need their hard-earned money. Again, are there any downsides to keeping things as they are? There's not much we can do to change about the taxes. And what about if we decrease? Again, we're way too broke to... It's too risky when we have no money left. I will increase the taxes. Not that I feel great about it, but hopefully it will help. I mean, it only gives us a +1 government budget. Good work. They left the meeting room and I decided to stay a bit longer. I went by the windows again and kept watching the sea in the silence for some time more. I certainly don't feel particularly good about that, that's for sure. Right then, what is next for us? Over here now, over to Lerian. Visit and inspect the schools of... visit and inspection of schools in Leria. As part of the plan programme, we arrived in Lerian to visit a middle school. The prestigious Torin Hill School was situated close to the suburbs, just outside of the city centre. The building was flanked by 2 hills, each beautifully dotted with shrubs and flowers. Lucian, Chiara and I got out of our cars and met at the entrance. Our presence had not gone unnoticed. Apart from the guards, there were at least 10 reporters following us around. That must be the principal. Right this way, sir. The principal was a man of short stature with a bushy moustache and a pair of glasses. He approached us quickly, but was stopped by the security guards. They started patting him down and searching him. We'll wait for them to finish. Mr. President, such an honour to meet with you. Shake his hand and smile for the cameras. Welcome to our humble school. Sorry about the security guards, it's a necessity standard procedure. Excellent, you must be Mr. Gallade. It's a pleasure to meet you, and Miss Walder. So good of you to come all the way out here. Thank you. At the entrance, the school's motto was inscribed on the wall in giant letters. Interesten sis agninka av Gerenia int olla almegoltena int olla mexis. Education is the premise of progress in all societies and all families. We walked towards the gates. Towards the gates. There were many students lined up in front of the stairs of the main building. It's quite a fun national anthem. As we entered, the students started singing it. The principal looked proudly at them. Marvellous, my dear students. After the anthem finished, all of the students immediately stepped to attention and turned to me. Looks like more like a military institution than a school. Exactly, that's what we pride ourselves on. Discipline has the utmost importance in our school. We need more educated people, not soldiers. On that we are aligned. I can assure you that our students are very well educated. In fact, our school is one of the top middle schools in all of Swordland. Now we will watch the students take their daily student oath. A boy and girl went up to the stage and grabbed their microphones. The students turned to them. I am a sword. My strength lies in my blood. I respect our honourable elders. I will protect the young. My life belongs to Swordland now and it will belong forever. I will always follow the guiding light of Colonel Soul and the great swords. I'm not sure I like that. And Morgadar West Corps, Vector C Star. Nod at the kids. Words to remember. What? No one even remembers if they graduate. If you want to follow me, we will take a look at one of our classrooms. Through the hallway, we made our way to classroom 7A. As soon as I entered, the whole classroom rose up and snapped to attention. At ease, we'll go military style. The students sat down. The same boy and girl walked up to us. These are our top students and our top class. This here is my son. The boy came over me and saluted at me like a military officer. Tell Mr. President what you want to be. Mr. President, I want to be a general, sir. I'm ready to sacrifice myself for my country and you, sir. This is weird. I don't want to destroy the boy's dreams. I'll do whatever I can to not let that happen. Thank you, sir. The principal squeezed his son's shoulders, and the boy looked up and smiled to his father. He patted him back on the back and sent him back to his seat. This is simply ridiculous, sending soldiers here, not students. I'm so sorry, I'll immediately perform disciplinary actions. How about you, young lady? What do you think about this? She is the top student in our school. Her excellent grades are to... I didn't ask you. She bent down and gently addressed the young student. What do you think about your school? Just between us girls. I'm sick of having to knit and sew while all the boys learn science and chemistry. I'm smarter than all of them. Why do I have to take these stupid handcraft classes? Shh. Do you know who you're talking? Shut up. Let her speak. Kiara's presence emboldened the girl. She went on. My math and reading scores are the best in the school, but they won't let me take the classes I want just because I'm a girl. I want to be a scientist, not some soldier's wife. You heard him, Mr. Principal. You make the necessary changes at once. As you wish, sir, at once. I'll personally check back and make sure the changes are made. The cameras flashed once again, and I looked around the classroom and saw a very large portrait of Colonel Soul. Okay, we're not going to be at the level of taking down Colonel Soul's portrait just yet, because he clearly has a lot of influence over this school. Well then, unfortunately we're almost out of time. We have other meetings to attend to today. Thank you for the warm welcome. Mr. President, Lucian, please go ahead. I'd like to speak with this girl alone. Very well. Thank you for visiting our school, sir. Come on, class. 1, 2... All students in the classroom yelled, but the boy when I met was the loudest. And Morgan West Corps. We can do some vector and starring, that's okay. And... Right. Briefing on the proposal of education reform. We were still in Lerian, staying at a modest guest house for state employees. Chiara set up a meeting with me and Lucian to go over our plans for education reform after a school visit. Lucian was sitting across from me, going through documents. After the visit yesterday, I couldn't even sleep, thinking about that little boy and girl. I've never been more sure of my intentions to reform our education system. I agree, and an educational reform is necessary. The students have to repeat that same solace propaganda every single day. They're being brainwashed at an age when their minds need to be free. On top of that, young girls are denied the same opportunity as boys. They're forced into the role of housewives before they even reach puberty. Nothing's changed since I went to school. Women like me, Lilius, Nia, even your wife, we had to study twice as hard to receive the same university education that your Lucian took for granted. Is that the kind of country you want your daughter to grow up in? Mr. President, we need to bring change. We need to free the minds of these young people. They are our future. Very well, what do we need to do? We need to keep politics out of the curriculum. Sol should only be reviewed as a historical figure. Children shouldn't have to repeat his name every day. This is actively poisoning bright young minds. Instead of thinking for themselves, they learn to take things at face value. We also need to ensure that boys and girls receive the same instruction. Handcrafts like knitting and sewing should be taught to both sexes or not at all. Swordsman's youth must be technically skilled and capable for the next decade. That won't be possible with the amount of nationalist indoctrination and narrow-minded thinking found in schools today. Either we raise a generation ready for the challenges of the future or not. What will it be, Mr. President? Lucian, what do you think? As much as I respect Colonel Sol, his time is past. Now is our time. I do think this might be the first step of a larger plan. Let's do it. Reform it. You will not regret it. I'll get to work immediately. So now that the decision has been made, let's move on. With no changes in budget, the ministry was left on its own to its own devices, but some tough choices still lack additional funds. Therefore, we're investigating if privatising education would draw enough funds to conduct investments. What are the advantages of privatisation? There aren't many, but it'll give us some sorely funded funds and increase competition amongst schools. It will go against our overall economic strategy of a planned economy. We can manage without additional funds. The only reason I want to consider it is to have money to improve the education. So what is your decision? No, don't privatise. I think privatising is a bad idea. This has been a very productive day. I'll be returning to Wholesword. Thank you for your time. We dispersed after spending nearly the entire day together. I took a moment to breathe the fresh evening air of Larian. I felt calmer here somehow, but I'd have to return to the chaos of Wholesword soon enough. Okay. Lots of things that we are struggling with. Our government budget is at -6, but our projected economic growth is actually moving in the right direction. It's moving upwards. Grunai Rural Development Plan needs completion. The Grunai Rural Development Plan, a brainchild of Rural Development Minister Gus Manger, is nearing completion in Wholesword. This strategy aims to revitalise the rural economy, fortify food security, and enhance the regional economy of Grunai. This upcoming presentation of the finalised plan marks a significant milestone in the evolution of Swordsman's rural development agenda. This one here. Okay. The Grunai Rural Development Investment is a proposal by Rural Development Minister Gus Manger to boost Swordsman's rural economies and secure the nation's food sustainability. The plan envisages a judicious allocation of resources to vitalise agricultural communities, fortifies food security, and elevates the regional economy of Grunai. One potential strategy is the provision of subsidies for new farms, encouraging more players into the agricultural field. Alternatively, Manger proposes an investment in mechanisation of existing farms to improve productivity on the initiation of crop research to foster initiative. Foster innovation, even. I will subsidise new farms. It's +2 or -2 to our government budget. I think it's worthwhile. The SSC promised to deliver. The official warning from the President and Ministry of Economy was received by the SSC. The chairman of the managers has apologised for the current situation, but highlighted that the rushing the work would risk real lives. The entire board signed a letter promising to meet their deadlines earlier outlined. Good. That's all I require of you. And Minister of Education, Chiara Warder, is reporting that she has begun working on the improved education reform. The details of the education reform will be finalised over the next month. If the reform package is accepted, the next steps of this process will be to discuss the indoctrination of education. Interesting. I think we'll leave it there. We are in a turbulent place in terms of the economy. The economy doesn't look too good. There's a lot of red links there. And we're at -8 in government budget, but our projected economic growth is a positive one, and that's something we should take into account. It's going well. But we do need to find a way to not get into so significant debt that we can't change that, because that'd be a real problem. But I think we'll leave it there. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.